2025 is the first year we are not getting a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links world. However, this September we are getting Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters anime exclusive characters in DM World. DM World is basically getting a revamp, and it was a manga world up until this point. Now I guess it will act as like a hybrid sort of world, and while I'm very interested to see what story route they go there, in this video I am going to go over 10 DM anime characters that I believe may come to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I hope you all enjoy. Number 1, Noah Kaiba. So we're going to start with the obvious. There were two characters that were on the promotional poster for this announcement, and I'm sure those two characters are going to come to the game. Noah Kaiba will probably be an at-launch character. He was the main threat in the Virtual World arc, the first major filler arc that we had in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, and so it's fitting that he will be one of the characters included in this update. Number 2, Dartz. So the other major DM filler arc was the Doma Arc, or some people call it Season 4, and Dartz was the main villain of that arc. Dartz is also clearly showed on the promotional material, so it's obvious he's coming to the game. It remains to be seen if he will also be an at-launch character. I imagine one of these two will be, but maybe they're going to try to save the other one for a later launch, since these are two of like the biggest DM filler characters there are, so I feel like it would be a little silly to do them both at once when maybe you could spread them out a little bit to increase hype, but who knows what they're going to do. A lot of Dart's cards have not been printed in the game, and that's kind of a reoccurring theme with the DM filler characters. Either their cards are already in the game, or their cards are like anime exclusive, and so I'm very interested to see how Duel Links is going to handle all of that. Number 3, Raphael. My personal favorite character that will be appearing on this list, and my personal favorite filler character. I cannot wait to be able to play as Raphael. I genuinely never thought we would have the chance, as I never really thought they would do a DM anime world, but instead they're revamping this world, so hey, I'll take it. I'm very excited to play with Raphael's Iatos and his Guardian monsters, albeit the deck is not very good, and I'm interested to see what skills they're going to give it in order to maybe buff it up, or if they'll just give Raphael like a different archetype. I really don't know what they're going to do, but Raphael is such a good character during that Doma arc, and I'm sure he's going to come to the game sooner rather than later. Number 4, Alistair. So Alistair is another one of the Doma boys, as I like to call them. There's really 4, Dartz, Raphael, Alistair, and we'll get to Valon in a little bit. I think Alistair will almost definitely come to the game. I'm sure the storyline will have a lot to do with Kaiba, and how Kaiba Corporation ruined his childhood, and why he blames Seto for that. It's honestly a really good backstory that Alistair had. He's probably my second favorite character of the Doma group, and much like Raphael, he's a bit of a fan favorite. And so I think he will definitely come to this update at some point. Number 5, Valon. So I actually debated putting Valon on this list because his armor archetype is one of the few anime-exclusive Yu-Gi-Oh! DM archetypes. There's really not many left, and Valon's is one of the most popular ones that has never seen the light of day. So either they're going to finally print his deck, they're going to let us play with anime-exclusive cards, or they are going to go down a totally different route when it comes to Valon. Or the option nobody wants to think about, we just don't get Valon, which I really hope is not what ends up happening, but I really could see a world where they just don't release Valon. I think he's probably one of the more popular Doma characters, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a little tricky to include him in the game. Hopefully they make it work, but I have him at the bottom of the Doma group because in terms of likelihood, I actually think he's the least likely to be included in this update. That being said, he's on this list for a reason. I think he does make his way into the game at some point. Number 6, Leon. So, a lot of people try to forget the KC Grand Prix arc, which happened right after Doma and right before the finale Millennium World arc. Well, Leon, von Schroeder, and Zigfried were kind of the two threats, although Leon was really not acting of his own free will. He felt very pressured by his older brother. You have the von Schroeder company versus the Kaiba Corp company, so I'm sure they'll probably do a little play-in with that about how Zigfried is jealous of the tech that Kaiba has and jealous of the entire Duel Links world. I can already see that event playing out. That being said, I think it's more likely we get Leon than Zigfried, and so I do have Leon coming in here at number 6, but spoiler alert, I will have Zigfried a little later on. Number 7, Rebecca Hawkins. So I don't know how many people out there actually want to play as Rebecca, but I do think she's got a good chance to eventually make her way to DM World. She's one of the few characters that showed up in a lot of the filler. She had a decent role to play in Doma. She had a pretty decently big role to play in the KC Grand Prix, and she was even involved between Battle City and Duelist Kingdom in that weird stretch where, you know, a lot of stuff was going on. I don't really want to get too into it because it's not my favorite part when it comes to the original series. I think Rebecca will make her way in here, and if you're excited to play her, that's awesome. Let me know if you are down below in the comments. Number 8, Zigfried von Schroeder. So this is really the man who is the villain of that KC Grand Prix arc. I know the final duel is against Leon, but Zigfried, if he was not stopped by Seto Kaiba, certainly would have been the one that was doing a lot of the dirty work when it came to dueling. He is the driver of that entire arc, and I think we will certainly get a little bit of a rivalry between him and Kaiba, and that will probably be his story event. I think it makes a lot of sense for him to eventually come to the game. I don't think he has the same star power as Noah, Kaiba, and Dartz, and that's why he was not included in the graphic that we saw for this announcement, but he's still one of the filler major villains, and I do think that he will eventually be playable in DM World. Number 9, Gozaburo Kaiba. So I thought about this a lot, and Gozaburo, I'm aware, is not an anime-exclusive character. I didn't say at the top that all of these characters were going to be exclusive to the DM anime, but I do think that this might serve as a catalyst to bring Gozaburo Kaiba into the game. I'm genuinely not sure how many people have any desire to play as probably the second worst father in Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime history, only behind Mr. Ishtar, and if Mr. Ishtar is the only person that's worse than you, you need to have a real long look in the mirror. Gozaburo is an abhorrent man, but that being said, he does play Exodia Necros in the Virtual World arc, and as we all know, Exodia Necros and just Exodia in general is one of the most famous, well-liked, and played decks that you can have in Yu-Gi-Oh! So I could absolutely see a route where they decide to include Gozaburo Kaiba, not because it's Gozaburo Kaiba, but because of the deck he plays. Kind of similar to why we got Gohai Yuka, because of all the Utopia stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's world just a few months ago. Same concept there. Number 10, this one pains me, Vivian Wong. Now let me say this, I have no interest at all in playing as Vivian Wong. I have no interest at all in her coming to the game, but I put Vivian Wong on this list to make a point that I do not want any of the big 5 to be included in this world. If you want to have them as roaming characters that we can just beat up all the time, fine. But please do not release these old fools as playable characters. Two things can be true. I have no interest in Vivian Wong being playable, and I'd much rather play as Vivian Wong than any of the big 5. Vivian, in all likelihood, probably is not going to come to this update, but to be honest, I'd be surprised if we even got 10 characters, and I kind of just wanted to make a statement there that I'd much rather her than any of the big 5. And that about wraps it up. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please let me know your thoughts down below on my top 10. And also let me know if you think I missed any or the likelihood of any of these characters coming to Yu-Gi-Oh! DM World. Very exciting time for Duel Links. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.